Chapter 1. The Lost Swordsman. Again, lanterns lit the night sky of Wano country, flickering like fireflies hopped up on sake. The streets were alive with music, shouting, and people tossing food at each other like it was an Olympic sport. The Straw Hat Pirates were at the center of it all, devouring mountains of meat and barrels of sake as if they had trained their entire lives for this one night. But at one corner of the table, one man sat unmoved, glaring at empty space. Rurono Zoro. Oi! Meat everywhere. Rice, stacked like fortresses. Sake? Nowhere. Seriously? Zoro muttered, eye twitching. Eh? Zoro, where are you going? Luffy asked, muffled by a gigantic hunk of roast. Finding booze, Zoro replied. Standing. Bring me some, Luffy shouted. Zoro didn't respond. He was already gone. He wandered the streets. Left? Wrong. Right? Wrong. Another right? Definitely wrong. A left that felt right? Wrong again. After an indeterminate amount of wandering and a near collision with a cart of pickled radishes, he arrived at a crooked, dark house. This place has it, he declared. He slid the door open. No room, no floor, no walls. Only a swirling black vortex like the sky had been stirred with a spoon, on fire and screaming. Huh. Without hesitation, Zoro stepped forward. The door slammed behind him. The house vanished. And just like that, the swordsman who could never find alcohol or the right direction was gone. He fell. Not gently, not politely, not even in a vaguely dignified way. He hit a snowy peak and rolled into the snow, muttering, "Not Wano." He scrambled up. Around him, floating mountains drifted in the sky. Rivers ran upward. Trees hovered midair. The air hummed with raw spiritual energy, tugging at his muscles. Zoro scratched his head. Lost again, I guess. A roar split the sky. A lightning tiger, or something that looked like a lightning tiger, but probably regretted existing, charged him. Zoro grinned. Finally, something interesting. He drew two swords, clamped the third in his teeth, and ran forward. Sanzen Sekai! Steel clashed with claw. Sparks flew. Snow turned to mist. The beast roared. Zoro twirled, slashed, jumped, ducked, rolled, and accidentally somersaulted over a cliff, landing on a smaller floating mountain. I meant to do that, he said. The beast lunged again. Three tails swung like wrecking balls. Zoro dodged, leaving Phantom Asura blades behind him, 6 arms spinning invisibly. The lightning tiger screeched, then disintegrated into streams of blue energy. Zoro flexed. Not bad. Could still use some booze. The energy rushed into Enma. The sword vibrated violently. Zoro groaned. Tastes funny. Inside him, the storm core shifted, rebuilt, sharpened, and condensed like a blacksmith hammering steel while yelling insults at it. Zoro looked around. Now, where am I? Far above the floating mountains, a cloaked figure opened one eye. He's different, it said. Somewhere in this strange cultivator world, a swordsman who couldn't even find his way out of his own hometown had just arrived. And nothing would ever be the same. Chapter 2. Lost. Again, but with beasts. Zoro opened his eyes. Snow, mountains, floating mountains, rivers running backward, trees hovering like confused birds. Great. Definitely not Wano. He stood, stretched, and took a deep breath. Air thick with spiritual energy tugged at his muscles like they were trying to wrestle him into a meditation pose. Ugh, not even a tavern nearby. Typical. He started walking. Or maybe running. Or was it sideways? Direction didn't matter. Zoro never knew it anyway. 5 minutes later, he had walked in a perfect circle and ended up back at the same hovering rock he had landed on. Again? Somewhere below, the forest rustled. Something large was coming. A roar. 3 tails. Eyes glowing gold. Fur crackling with blue lightning. Zoro grinned. Oh, now we're talking. He drew 2 swords, clamped the third in his teeth, and assumed a fighting stance. Still lost, though. The beast lunged. Its claw, the size of a small house, slammed down. Zoro dodged, sideways, maybe backward, definitely wrong, and somehow ended up on the beast's tail. He slipped, stumbled, and rolled across its back. Smooth enough. He raised Wado Ichimonji. Sandai Kitetsu twirled in his left hand. Enma vibrated violently in his teeth. Sanzen Sekai! Steel clashed with lightning fur. Sparks flew. Phantom Asura arms emerged behind him, spinning in 6 directions with a snarl only Zoro understood. The beast roared, swinging its tails. Zoro dodged one, accidentally stepped on another, and kicked the first tail straight into the beast's face. Oops. The tiger staggered, but Zoro ignored it. Anyone got booze around here? He leapt, spinning Enma through the beast's chest. Blue energy exploded in all directions. The tiger dissolved into mist, leaving a faint smell of fried lightning. Zoro landed in a crouch. Not bad. Could have used some seasoning, though. Then he realized he had absolutely no idea which way he had come from, or which way was up. Lost again. Perfect. The residual energy from the tiger surged toward him. Enma absorbed it violently, nearly throwing him off balance. He coughed, muttered, and flexed. Feels like training, minus the booze. The storm core inside him rotated faster. Black steel fragments ground together, sharpening, rebuilding. Muscles tensed. Bones strengthened. Pain? Minimal. Fun? Maximum. A laugh escaped him. All right, let's see what else this place has. He walked, or maybe stumbled. Direction? Still lost. Destination? Still unknown. But one thing was certain. He was going to fight anything that looked at him funny, and maybe ask it for booze afterward. Above, on a floating cliff wrapped in mist, cultivators watched in shock. He's resisting the lightning sovereign beast without cultivation chi, one whispered. That's impossible, another muttered. Zoro, oblivious, muttered to himself, probably this way. Or maybe that way. Who cares? Lost is fun. Chapter 3. The Inner Mountain, or Not. Zoro squinted. Above him, floating mountains sliced through clouds like swords in a dream he didn't remember signing up for. Below him, forests twisted upward, rivers poured skyward, and wind smelled like raw energy mixed with overcooked ramen. Somewhere, a bird shrieked. Maybe 3 birds, or 1 bird doing karaoke. Zoro wasn't sure. Lost, he muttered. Of course, he was lost. This world didn't make sense. Gravity didn't exist in the directions he wanted. Land masses drifted like lazy turtles, even the shadows moved wrong. But that didn't matter. Zoro had swords, stamina, and the single-minded ability to walk forward, into absolutely nothing he understood. He stepped, then tripped. Falling into a canyon that wasn't supposed to exist, Zoro landed on a rock, slid across a floating river, rolled through a grove of giant silver-leaf trees, and slammed into a cliffside with a satisfying thunk. Perfect. He stood, brushing snow, or maybe glowing dust from his shoulders. 3 tails of residual lightning energy danced behind him like small, annoyed serpents. A voice echoed. Who disturbs the outer perimeter of the Azure Cloud sect? Zoro froze. Or maybe he didn't. He didn't really know. Someone looking for booze, he said. Nothing happened. The wind just whipped more violently, as if disappointed. Then 3 figures descended from the sky, robes flowing, swords hovering, and eyes sharp enough to cut through 3 dimensions at once. They didn't smile, not even a little. Zoro tilted his head. Cute outfits. Very flowy. Is that in style here? The lead cultivator frowned. You, mortal. How did you pass the outer perimeter? Zoro shrugged. Oops. I took a left at the floating waterfall and, that's it. The other 2 cultivators narrowed their eyes. They moved, swift, deadly, formation ready. Swords radiated spiritual energy so strong the snow around them boiled. Zoro squinted. That's a lot of fancy sparkle. Do you come with a receipt? The first strike came. Condensed energy, sharpened into the shape of a blade, flew toward him at impossible speed. Zoro casually sidestepped. Feels like they didn't account for spin attacks. Steel met air, sparks exploded, snow evaporated. The second... Absolutely. Chapter 4. Climbing the wrong mountain. Literally. Zoro squinted at the horizon. Mountains floated. Rivers ran backward. Clouds hung like cotton candy someone left in the freezer. Lost, he muttered. Of course I'm lost. After wandering through 3 invisible forests, 1 river that refused to flow, and a field of glowing mushrooms that smelled vaguely like sake, and that he briefly considered eating, he finally saw it. A mountain, the tallest he had ever seen. Or maybe it was the 2nd tallest, or the 1st tallest of the wrong dimension. Hard to tell. Looks like a mountain, he said. Probably wrong. But that didn't stop him. Zoro always moved forward, even if forward was a complete guess. He stepped onto the base. Immediately, the ground trembled. Did I step on something? The tremor turned into a rumble. The rumble turned into a roar. And from the base of the mountain, a forest beast, 10 times taller than a man, 6 limbs, 3 heads, each eye blazing like molten gold, emerged. Lightning crackled along its fur. Wings sprouted mid-flight from its shoulders for no reason at all. Zoro grinned. Good, looks fun. He drew 2 swords. The 3rd he clamped between his teeth. Unma vibrated instantly, humming like it recognized a worthy idiot. Sanzen Sekai, he charged. The beast roared and lunged. Zoro dodged, then tripped, rolled, somehow ended up on the beast's tail, slid to the head, accidentally disarmed one of its limbs. Smooth. He swung Wado Ichimonji. Sendai Kitetsu followed in a whirlwind. Enma absorbed residual energy from the beast's roars, stabilizing Zoro's storm core. Phantom Asura arms formed behind him. 6 limbs, 3 snarling faces, all clearly rolling their eyes at his style. The fight lasted roughly 10 seconds. The beast evaporated into a stream of pure energy. Zoro blinked. Did I do that? Then he turned to continue climbing the mountain. Or maybe sideways, who could tell? The mountain path was less a path and more a floating staircase made of shattered crystal, hovering impossibly in the air. It twisted, turned, and occasionally looped back on itself like it had a sense of humor. Lost already, Zoro muttered. Halfway up, he stumbled into a formation array. Invisible spikes, barriers, and intricate glyphs radiated lethal energy. One wrong step, and, well, he probably wouldn't survive. Zoro squinted. Looks fragile. He stepped forward. The array exploded. Not the deadly kind, well, a little deadly, but more like, oops, someone hit the self-destruct button. He coughed, dusting off shards of crystal and glyph fragments. Accidentally stylish, he said. The shards glowed briefly, then merged into the shape of a giant spectral guardian. Sword in hand, robed in flowing chi energy, eyes empty, yet somehow judging. Zoro tilted his head. Cute outfit. You're shiny. Nice colors. The guardian moved, faster than thought, sharper than sharp, and right at Zoro's head. He sidestepped. Almost caught me. The guardian swung again. Zoro tripped, accidentally spun around, and somehow severed the spectral guardian's sword midair with Enma. Sparks flew. Phantom Asura arms glared in disbelief. Seriously? The guardian staggered, then dissolved into glowing energy fragments. Zoro dusted his hands. Easy. Could use some sake, though. By now, the Intermountain Trial was apparently aware of him. From floating pavilions above, cultivators of all ranks stared in shock. He's resisting the spectral formations, whispered one elder. Without chi refinement, gasped another. Zoro grinned, scratching his head. I guess that counts as training. He continued upward. Or sideways. He wasn't sure. Staircases twisted and flipped in impossible angles. At one point he stepped onto what he thought was a step, only to fall through midair, landing on another floating rock. Lost, he admitted proudly. Perfect. Then came the roar. A true guardian beast appeared. Larger than the last. Its body crackled with pure energy. Its tail whipped across mountains. Its wings scattered clouds. It had 3 heads, 6 arms, and a jaw like a small cathedral. Zoro blinked. Nice. He drew his swords. And you'll be dessert. Combat erupted instantly. Steel clashed with energy. Phantom Asura arms spun in 6 directions. Enma hummed like a predator recognizing its meal. The storm core inside him spun faster, refining, condensing, sharpening. Every strike fed back into his body, making him faster, stronger, sharper. Somewhere in the process, Zoro tripped over a floating crystal, rolled through a formation array, accidentally destroyed a guardian statue, and severed the wing of the beast. Did I do that? The beast evaporated. Zoro flexed, scratching his head again. Perfect. Lost, alive, stronger. Could be worse. At the very peak, floating in a palace hidden in clouds, Elder Han and other masters were pale. He's impossible, Elder Han whispered. He's a walking disaster, muttered another. Zoro continued climbing, or maybe wandering. He had no idea which way was up, which way was forward, or where the summit even was. Lost, he said proudly. Good. Lost is fun. And far above, in a space beyond the floating mountains, a presence stirred, ancient, vast, watching, interested. Maybe they have booze, Zoro muttered. He stepped forward. Or sideways. Or backward. Who could tell? The inner mountain, he didn't know the way, was about to meet its most chaotic challenger yet. Chapter 5. The Summit That Watches Zoro Blinked. Floating mountains, rivers upside down, trees hovering midair, clouds stiff like frozen noodles. He scratched his head. Lost, he muttered proudly. Of course I'm lost. Somewhere above, an enormous black palace shimmered in the clouds. That had to be the Intermountain Summit. Probably. Or not. Direction had lost all meaning. He stepped forward. Immediately, the ground trembled. Rocks shifted. Mist spiraled upward. Somewhere, a distant gong rang, echoing in every dimension at once. Probably ceremonial, Zoro said. Or I'm stepping on something important. Either way, good enough. He drew 2 swords, clamped the third between his teeth, and took a half step forward. From the mist, a spectral tiger appeared. 6 limbs, 3 heads, fur like liquid lightning, and a glare that clearly said, "You're lost, aren't you?" Zoro grinned. "Yep, I'm lost. You're tasty, though." The tiger lunged. Zoro sidestepped, tripped, rolled, somehow ended up riding its tail. Slashed at a glowing paw midair. It evaporated. Smooth enough. He fell off the tail, landed on a floating rock. Phantom Asura arms spun behind him. 6 limbs, 3 faces, all clearly judging his balance. "Could someone point me toward booze?" he muttered. Lost again. A roar from above. Another guardian. Enormous. Wings span floating mountains, tail thrashing like lightning whips, eyes blazing gold. Zoro tilted his head. You look spicy. I like it." He charged, steel clashed with energy. Unma vibrated violently. Storm core inside him spun faster, condensing, refining. Each strike fed directly into his body, making him stronger. Faster, sharper, unpredictable. The guardian swung. Zoro tripped over a floating glyph, somersaulted, and somehow severed its sword in midair with Wado Ichimonji. Sandai Kitetsu followed through its wing. Enma absorbed residual energy. Did I do that? The guardian evaporated into streams of spectral light. Zoro brushed snow or dust off his shoulders. Lost. Alive, stronger, good enough. He continued climbing, or wandering. He had no idea. Direction didn't exist for him. Every step a question. Every leap an adventure. Every stumble an accident of style. Then came a stairway. Crystal steps, impossibly thin, twisting upward. One wrong step could kill him, or just throw him back to floating mountain hell. Zoro squinted. Seems like the right way? Maybe. He stepped. Tremor, pressure. Blade intent radiating from above. Invisible swords tried to pierce him. He shrugged, blocked with Enma, and tripped over his own feet. Accidentally stylish. The path twisted. He fell through midair. Landed on a floating formation array. Energy erupted. Glyphs exploded. Phantom guardians appeared. 3 swords each, flowing robes intent to kill. Zoro grinned. Cute outfits. You sparkle. Nice colors. They attacked. Faster than thought. Smarter than sharp. Precision strikes aiming for vital points. Zoro sidestepped. Tripped. Accidentally spun, severing one guardian's sword, dismantling another's barrier, and vaporizing the last one entirely. Phantom Asura arms glared. Seriously? He wiped sweat and blood from his face. Easy. Could use some sake, though. A new roar. Another beast. Larger, wings stretching half a floating mountain, 6 tails thrashing, eyes like molten lightning. Zoro tilted his head. All right, you'll be dessert. Combat erupted instantly. Steel clashed with energy. Phantom Asura arms spun. Enma vibrated violently, absorbing the beast's raw energy. Storm core inside him rotated faster, building, condensing, sharpening. Every impact reshaped him. Every strike refined him. At one point, Zoro tripped, rolled through a formation array, accidentally destroyed a guardian statue, severed a tail midair, landed standing, perfectly upright. Did I do that? The beast evaporated. Zoro flexed, scratching his head. Lost, alive, stronger, could be worse. Above him, cultivators of the inner mountain were pale. Elder Han's mouth opened. "He's impossible," another whispered. A walking disaster. Zoro tilted his head. I guess that counts as training? Direction? Unknown. Purpose? Vague. Destination? Lost. Good. Lost is fun, he muttered, stepping forward or sideway backward. Who could tell? The inner mountain, its summit, guardians, formations, and ancient sword trials was about to meet its most chaotic challenger yet, and somewhere far above, a presence stirred. Ancient, vast, watching, interested. Maybe they have booze, Zoro said. He walked, or stumbled, or fell gracefully. The mountain trembled. Floating platforms cracked. Sword formations broke. Spiritual arrays fizzled. And Zoro continued upward, still lost, undefeated, and completely unconcerned. Chapter 6, Accidentally at the Summit. Zoro blinked. Floating mountains, twisting clouds, rivers flowing the wrong way. Yep. Lost. Again. He squinted at a crystal staircase. Thin. Impossible. Wobbled slightly. Looks like the right way? Probably wrong. Step 1. Tripped. Rolled halfway up a floating platform. Phantom Asura arms sighed in unison. Seriously? Step 2. Slipped on a shard of glowing crystal. Landed on a formation array. Energy exploded around him. Glyphs vaporized. 1 phantom guardian, 3 swords, flowing robes, 0 patience appeared in a shimmer. Zoro tilted his head. Cute outfit. Nice color. You sparkle. The guardian lunged, faster than thought. Steel clashed with invisible energy. Zoro tripped over his own feet. Accidentally spun. Wado Ichimonji cut the guardian's sword in 2. Sandai Kitetsu followed through its arm. Unma absorbed residual energy like it had been waiting for a challenge. Eh, did I do that? Zoro muttered. The Guardian evaporated. Zoro dusted himself off. Lost, alive, stronger. Good enough. A roar shattered the summit air. A colossal tiger beast appeared. 6 limbs, 3 heads, lightning crackling along fur, tail thrashing like a whip, wings sprouted midair, because logic didn't exist here. Zoro grinned. You look tasty. Steel met lightning. Enma hummed. Phantom Asura arms flared. The storm core inside him rotated faster, refining, condensing, sharpening. Step 3, tripped on a floating shard. Step 4, accidentally vaporized a guardian statue. Step 5, landed on the beast's tail, rolled forward, cut its wing midair. Did I do that? The beast evaporated. Zoro flexed. Lost, alive, stronger. Could be worse. The summit staircase twisted impossibly higher. Crystal steps looped, flipped, and occasionally disappeared entirely. Zoro tilted his head. Lost already? Perfect. Suddenly, a series of massive sword trials activated. Blades of pure energy swung from every direction. Arrays of sharp light formed barriers. Guardian statues animated midair, swing spectral swords. Zoro blinked. Fancy. He tripped, rolled, accidentally cut one array's main pillar in half. Vaporized a guardian. Phantom Asura arms flailed, 6 limbs, 3 faces, clearly exasperated. Zoro shrugged. Training, maybe. Could use sake, another roar, another beast. Colossal, wings stretching miles, tail thrashing, eyes blazing molten gold. Zoro tilted his head. All right, dessert time. Combat erupted. Steel clashed with energy, phantom arms spun. Enma absorbed raw spiritual energy, storm core twisted, built, refined. Each strike fed directly into his body. Faster, sharper, stronger. Step 6, tripped on a floating crystal. Step 7, accidentally cut a tail midair. Step 8, rolled into a guardian formation. All 3 statues vaporized. Perfect. The beast evaporated. Zoro dusted off snow or floating dust. Lost, alive, stronger, good. Could use booze. At last he reached a plateau, probably the summit. Floating platforms shattered around him from his accidental destruction. The ancient black sword pulsed atop a pedestal of clouds, energy radiating like it had a personality. Zoro tilted his head. Shiny, looks fancy. Booze nearby? From the clouds, a voice, not loud, not soft, just there, echoed. Anomaly, who dares reach the summit? Zoro grinned. Me. Lost, undefeated, looking for sake. That counts, right? From the pedestal, the sword glowed brighter. Sword intent thickened the air. Invisible blades sliced around him. He dodged, tripped, rolled. Phantom Asura arms blocked 2 blades midair. He accidentally severed 3 more. Stylish enough? The storm core inside him condensed further. Black fragments fused. Muscle, bone, spirit, and sword energy aligned. Not neat, not orderly, but focused. Sharp, dangerous, chaotic. Above, the sword pulsed. The sky shimmered. Elders far below whispered. He's an anomaly, Elder Han muttered. A walking disaster, another said. Zoro scratched his head. I guess that counts as training. He stepped forward, or sideways, or backward. Who could tell? Lost, alive, stronger. Good. Could be worse, he muttered. And far above, unseen by mortal cultivators, something vast and ancient watched, shifting, interested, intrigued. Maybe they have booze, Zoro said. He drew all 3 swords. Phantom Asura arms spun. Storm core rotated. The inner mountain, its trials, its guardians, its ancient sword was about to meet its most chaotic, lost, and ridiculously unstoppable challenger yet.